finals. Not as long as it was in Boston. It's been 4 years since Kobe Bryant and the Lakers played a finals game in front of the home crowd. And again, they're down 0-2 as we get set to go. Let's check in with our sideline reporter, Michelle Tafoya. Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Mike. Well, immediately after his team lost Game 2 in Boston, Phil Jackson called attention to the officiating and the disparity in foul shots. Now, in that game, the Celtics took 38 free throws, the Lakers just 10. And Jackson said afterwards, quote, "I've never seen a game like that in all these years I've coached in the finals. Unbelievable," end quote. The NBA did not fine Jackson for his remarks and denied his players' plan to be more aggressive. And as Kobe Bryant told me, play through the contact and hope they get some calls, Mike.
All part of the activity between games of a playoff series, Michelle. Spanish language version of tonight's game presented by ESPN Deportes. So the Lakers 8-0 at home in the playoffs. Kobe Bryant, quick spin move, shot won't go. Pau Gasol, the rebound. Inside, Radmanovic. I don't know if he lost it around and got a piece of it. Either way, the Celtics with their first possession.
And right away, you see Kobe Bryant on Rondo and Fisher on Ray Allen.
So some adjustments early from the teams. Rondo to Pierce. Rondo pass up to Perkins. Perkins inside with a nice play. Perkins, who's been bothered by that high ankle sprain last couple of games, with the first 2 points of the game.
And people wondering probably, well, what's the difference, Kobe Bryant on Rondo? What it does is it allows Kobe Bryant to be a roamer on the defensive end. Does not have to worry about being a lockdown defender individual.
Fisher to Gasol. Pau Gasol is knocked at the roll, and Pierce the rebound. He's fouled by Odom. Odom has been in foul trouble in both of the first 2 games. Had 5 in game 1, 5 in game 2. And received kind of a harsh statement from Phil Jackson after game 2. He said that Odom at times looked confused out on the floor.
And that's what's key. If you're a head coach, you have to know your personnel. A guy like Lamar Odom, a tough city guy, can accept criticism. And Phil Jackson understood that and pushed the correct button.
Allen misses. He said, Lamar's okay with that. That was his quote earlier today. I don't know if Odom feels that way, but he misses the shot. Here come the Celtics. Rondo, Allen, back to Rondo. In for the wild layup. And Gasol the rebound. Allen with the steal. He's looking for a shot early. And off the mark.
One of the things I like about putting Bryant on Rondo is it leads to cross matches in transition and should lead to some mismatch opportunities for Bryant against Rondo.
And a foul as Gasol went up. He'll go for the free throw line as Perkins picks up his first.
No, and you can already see the mindset of Kobe Bryant has not scored, but the first play is a post-up move. The second play attacking the paint area. He is trying to force the issue offensively.
Kobe Bryant very harsh on his teammates in some huddles in game 2. Talking about them to be more aggressive. They had that terrific fourth quarter after getting embarrassed through the first 3+ when they were down by as many as 24. As Perkins gets the rebound off the miss. Radmanovic is fouled. And what Michelle talked about, that was a big story in game 2. The free throw disparity, it was 19-2 in that first half. And Phil Jackson said he doesn't really talk to his team about that. He certainly talked about it in the media, but didn't talk to his team about it, just told his team to be more aggressive.
Well, you understand that your team is reading newspapers. They certainly understand what's going on, but you can't take the pressure off of your guys. They have to respond as Rondo saves the ball out of bounds off the body of Radmanovic. The pressure is on those guys.
Well, Magic Johnson getting into the action along the sidelines. A lot of Lakers celebs, former Laker greats in attendance here at the Staples Center. That's what's so much fun about some of these finals. You saw the great Boston greats at the Garden as Garnett misses. The likes of Jerry West, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Sharman, Magic, all in attendance for game 3. Bryant double. Fisher. Good help defense from Pierce. Fisher to the basket, won't go. Perkins the rebound. Here's Pierce releasing. Going to try and track it down, and he can't. And Paul Pierce goes crashing into the stands. He's in familiar territory, not necessarily in that spot, but from Inglewood, California. Stone's throw away from the old Forum. It's a homecoming for him. people around courtside. Get your money's worth.
You can tell you're not in Boston. Those fans would have stood up and tried to brace his fall. Laker fans got out of the way.
Rondo on Bryant. Here's the double team. Bryant inside. Gets it to go.
And they're double teaming from the top. And so Rondo's responsibility is to not allow him to spin baseline away from the double team.
Certainly easier said than done with Bryant. Garnett to the basket. I believe Odom got a piece of it. Odom to the basket. Kicks it out. Radmanovic hits a three. Vladimir Radmanovic, who had a solid fourth quarter in game 2, gives the Lakers a 4-point lead.
Phil Jackson touched on something before the game when we were talking to him. He said, hey, Lamar Odom has to avoid the offensive foul. Put the ball on the floor and make plays, avoiding contact.
Celtics, the best team in the NBA at drawing charges. And Jackson letting his team make sure they're aware of it. Rondo through his hands. Turnover.
But once again, Kobe Bryant is defending Rondo. Nowhere near him. He is stopping the penetration of Pierce and the big three of the Celtics. Not paying attention to Rondo, feeling he can get back. And if he beats us with jumpers, so be it.
Celtics 1 for 6 and 2 turnovers to start after a very efficient offensive performance in game 2, which of course was on their own floor. Bryant lost it, stripped. And it's still Laker ball with 9 on the shot clock. Doc Rivers' team lost their first 6 road games in these playoffs. 3 in Atlanta, 3 in Cleveland before playing very well on the road in Detroit. Bryant to the basket. Oh, he looked like he got hit. Odom out Radmanovic. Another 3. Bryant the rebound. Inside, draws the foul this time. And he'll shoot a couple. Lakers, you can tell, at least right now, their mindset in the opening minutes is to be physical.
Well, Kobe Bryant, when he puts his head down and goes to the rim, good things happen. Here, second shots happen. And on the offensive rebound, he goes to the rim, good things happen, you get fouled. Everything good happens when the ball gets at the basket area.
We're talking about all the fouls that they felt were not called in game 2. Bryant said what we learned is we have to make the shot anyway, even if you get fouled.
Well, absolutely, and you can't stop being aggressive, and you see that's what Kobe Bryant is doing. Upset that no calls have been made prior to this, but he is continuing to get to the paint.
He's made now 20 straight free throws in these playoffs, and the Lakers lead by 6. Rondo out to Garnett. Bryant the rebound. Lakers have had a couple of good starts in the series, and Rondo a reach-in foul. So Bryant's going to go right back to the free throw line.
And Coach made a great point earlier. Because of Kobe Bryant defending Rondo on the other end is a mismatch on the other end, because when the Celtics get back, they're matching up with their own man. So Rondo's being left on Bryant, and he is looking to ISO and make plays.
And he has no idea, Rondo, because he's probably never guarded Kobe Bryant before on consecutive possessions. So he hasn't studied him. He hasn't, worked against him. Here he's coming at him in transition. And instead of, and this is where Rondo gets in trouble, gambling for the strip instead of contesting up high.
And he's not an ideal matchup for Kobe Bryant. He is an outstanding gambling defender. He's not a guy that is a lockdown defender. So when he gambles, he's going to pay the price against a superior offensive weapon.
Lakers have already taken more free throws in 4 minutes than they did in the entire first half of game 2. As Bryant getting to the line. Struggling offense right now for Boston. Pierce, nice move. Kicks it out. Allen deflected by Fisher. Fisher outraces Allen. Fisher back to Bryant. In, and he's fouled again. Excellent defense and hustle from Fisher. And more free throws for Kobe Bryant.
Well, we hate to keep on hopping on the same thing, but when the penetration occurs, who's there to avoid the contact? Kobe Bryant does not allow Pierce to get to the cup. Fisher comes up with the steal. Good foul by Ray Allen, but the Lakers setting the tone defensively.
And a timeout as Kobe Bryant and the Lakers down 0-2 in the series jump out to a 7-point lead.